there, this is Slate So White. I'm going to show you how to cover the little puzzle pieces cake in fondant icing. And it's really simple, but it's very messy, so please don't wear your best stuff. Make sure you've got an apron on, roll up your sleeves, tie your hair back, because it's going to get messy. Okay, so what I've done is I've made up a small portion of fondant icing. I've used the recipe on the back of the box, which is just pretty much add enough water until it's the consistency you want, which, you know, that's fine, we'll go with that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, these are sort of like fondant fancy, sort of the idea, that's what I'm using for this. So what I'm going to do is just take the cake. What I'm going to do is just use a fork for this, because you can get just so messy. I'm just going to rummage the cake in the icing, shake it off slightly. It will look a little bit messy, and then what you're going to do is take it, and then this is where you get messy because you've got to use your fingers. Take it off the fork, whoops, try not to get it in your hand. And I've put silver foil under a cooling rack, just so when the icing drops it's not going to dye the table or the tablecloth or anything like that. So you will have to wash your hands in between each go, or at least wipe them with a tissue because they will get quite messy. But yeah, that's a really simple way of covering them with icing. This icing tastes amazing. I love fondant icing. And it's just a nice little bit. It's not too much icing for a mouthful of cake. Right, so let's get on with the other ones. The longer you leave the icing, it will start hardening up. So if you're finding it's suddenly the cake's getting stuck in the icing or anything like that, then you can just always add a little bit more water. But be careful, because if you add too much, of course it's gonna get too runny, and sometimes it's a little bit hard to save it if it goes too runny. Right, try the next one. Oops. If you don't mind getting messy, you can just put them in with your fingers. But I think the fork just gives you just a little bit of control. Just sort of moving it around so the whole... And because the icing is so runny, as you leave it to dry, the icing will drop and cover the rest of the cake. And if you want to do the bottom of it as well, what you can do is melt some chocolate. Just do a nice little level of chocolate on the bottom, and then do the same thing with that. Whoops. The one great thing about fondant icing is it has a beautiful shininess to it. So when it dries it will look so shiny. Well, we've dropped it in the fondant. Okay, I'm going to use my fingers for this because it's fallen off.